Welcome to English Easy Hub. Join us as we ignite the flames of your English learning journey together.
Please subscribe to watch and embark on your English learning journey. Don't miss out on the exciting content. In this conversation, Andy seeks guidance from his professor on improving his English pronunciation, specifically addressing common pitfalls such as differentiating similar sounds, mastering intonation and stress, enhancing connected speech, and overcoming psychological barriers like fear of making mistakes. The professor provides in-depth advice, practical exercises, and useful resources to help Andy achieve clearer and more natural pronunciation.
Hi, Professor. I've been really focused on improving my pronunciation lately, but I'm hitting some roadblocks. I know that pronunciation is key to being understood clearly, especially in fast conversations. Could we dive deep into some common pitfalls and explore strategies to avoid them?
Absolutely, Andy. Pronunciation is a critical aspect of language learning, and it's great that you're taking it seriously. There are numerous pitfalls that learners encounter, but with the right strategies, they can be overcome. Let's start by pinpointing the specific challenges you're facing.
One major issue I've noticed is with certain sounds that are really close but have different pronunciations, like V and W or TH and S. When I'm speaking quickly, I sometimes confuse them. It's especially frustrating when I'm in the middle of a conversation, and I hear myself make a mistake, but I can't seem to fix it on the spot. What's the best way to tackle this?
You're certainly not alone in this, Andy. Distinguishing between similar sounds is a common struggle, particularly for non-native speakers. The first step is to ensure you can produce each sound accurately in isolation. For instance, with V and W, the key difference lies in the lip and teeth positioning. For V, your upper teeth should lightly touch your lower lip, creating a vibrating sound, whereas for W, your lips should round without any vibration from the teeth.
That makes sense. I guess I need to slow down and really pay attention to how my mouth moves. But in real conversations, it's tough to maintain that level of focus without slowing down the entire conversation. How can I keep the flow of conversation while still improving my pronunciation?
That's a challenge many learners face. It's all about building muscle memory so that correct pronunciation becomes second nature. Start by practicing these sounds in isolation, then in minimal pairs, like vine and wine, or think and sink. Once you're comfortable with that, move on to incorporating these sounds into sentences. Recording yourself can be incredibly beneficial here. Listen to the playback to identify any errors and correct them. Gradually, this practice will help you internalize the correct sounds, even in fast speech.
I hadn't thought of recording myself as a regular practice tool. I'll start doing that more often. Another issue I've been struggling with is intonation and stress. My speech sometimes sounds monotonous, and I find it difficult to convey the right emphasis, especially in longer sentences. How can I improve my intonation to sound more natural?
Intonation and stress are indeed critical for making your speech sound natural and expressive. English relies heavily on stress patterns, where certain syllables or words are emphasized more than others. A flat intonation can make your speech sound robotic, so it's important to practice varying your pitch and stress. Start by practicing with simple, rhythmic sentences and exaggerate the stress patterns. Poetry or nursery rhymes are excellent for this because they have a clear rhythm and natural intonation patterns. Listen to native speakers. Notice how their pitch rises and falls, how they stress certain words more heavily, and try to mimic that.
That's a good approach. I'll try using poetry or even song lyrics since they're often very rhythmic. But what about when I'm just speaking normally, like in casual conversation? I find it hard to maintain that same level of intonation without sounding forced or unnatural.
That's an important point. The goal is to make your speech sound natural, not overly exaggerated. Once you've practiced with exaggerated intonation, you can start dialing it back to a more natural level. Another helpful technique is to listen to recordings of native speakers, such as in podcasts or interviews, and try shadowing them. Shadowing involves listening to a short segment of speech and immediately repeating it as closely as possible, mimicking the speaker's intonation, rhythm, and stress. This helps you get a feel for the natural flow of English speech.
Shadowing sounds really interesting. I've done a bit of it before, but I never stuck with it consistently. I can see how it would help with both intonation and linking words together. Speaking of linking, I've noticed that native speakers often blend words in a way that makes their speech flow really smoothly. But when I try to do that, I either end up slurring the words together too much or losing clarity. How can I improve my connected speech without sacrificing clarity?
Connected speech is a hallmark of fluency, and mastering it can indeed make your speech sound more natural. Native speakers often link words, reduce sounds, or even omit them altogether. To practice this, start by identifying common phrases where linking occurs, like, "What are you doing?" which might become, "Whatcha doin'?" when spoken quickly. Practice these phrases slowly at first, paying attention to how the sounds merge. Then, gradually increase your speed while maintaining clarity. You can also practice by breaking down sentences into smaller chunks and focusing on how each chunk is connected to the next.
I'll definitely start practicing that way. I think I've been trying to go too fast too soon, which is probably why I'm losing clarity. What about listening skills? Sometimes when I'm trying to catch these subtle links and reductions in native speech, it's hard to even hear them, let alone reproduce them. How can I train my ear to better pick up on these details?
Training your ear is just as important as training your mouth. A good exercise for improving listening skills is the dictation and repetition method. Listen to a short audio clip of native speech, ideally something with natural, conversational English. Try to write down what you hear word for word. Then, replay the audio and compare it to what you wrote. This will help you identify common reductions and links in native speech. Afterward, try repeating the sentence exactly as you heard it, mimicking the native speaker's rhythm and intonation. Over time, this practice will sharpen your listening abilities and make it easier to reproduce the subtleties of connected speech.
That sounds like a great exercise. I imagine it would also help with my overall comprehension, which can sometimes lag behind when people speak quickly. I've been thinking about how to structure my daily practice to address all these areas. How should I organize my practice sessions to make sure I'm covering everything effectively?
A structured approach is essential for making consistent progress. Here's a plan you might consider. Start with 10 minutes of sound drills, focusing on those challenging sounds like V and W. Follow that with 10 to 15 minutes of intonation practice, using sentences or dialogues to work on stress and pitch variation. Next, spend 10 to 15 minutes on connected speech exercises, like linking and reduction. Then, dedicate 10 to 15 minutes to shadowing practice with native speaker audio. Finally, spend some time on free speaking or conversation practice, where you can apply everything you've learned in a more natural setting. Remember to record yourself at least a few times a week to track your progress.
That's really comprehensive. I like that it covers all the bases without being too overwhelming. One thing I'm curious about is the psychological aspect of learning pronunciation. Sometimes I feel self-conscious about my accent or afraid of making mistakes, which can hold me back from practicing as much as I should. Do you have any advice on overcoming these mental barriers?
That's a very important issue, Andy. The fear of making mistakes can be a significant obstacle, especially in language learning. It's essential to reframe mistakes as learning opportunities rather than failures. Everyone makes mistakes, even native speakers, so don't let that hold you back. It can also help to practice in low-stakes environments, like with language exchange partners or by recording yourself in private before trying out new sounds in public. Gradually, as you build confidence in your pronunciation, those mental barriers will begin to fade.
I appreciate that perspective. It's easy to get caught up in perfectionism, but I need to remind myself that progress is more important. What about resources? Are there any specific tools, apps, or websites that you recommend for someone at my level to supplement my practice?
There are several excellent resources that can support your practice. For sound-specific practice, you might try the Sounds, the pronunciation app, which is quite comprehensive. The Elsa Speak app is also great for providing instant feedback on your pronunciation. For shadowing, TED Talks and YouTube channels that focus on clear, well-articulated speech are excellent choices. English Central is another resource where you can watch videos and practice speaking in a structured environment. And don't underestimate the value of simple tools like a voice recorder or a mirror. Sometimes the best resources are the simplest ones.
I'll definitely check those out. It's helpful to have a variety of tools to keep things interesting and cover different aspects of pronunciation. Thank you so much, Professor. This conversation has given me a lot of clarity and direction. I feel much more equipped to tackle my pronunciation challenges now.
You're very welcome, Andy. It's great to see your dedication to improving your pronunciation. Remember, it's a journey, and every step forward is progress. Keep practicing consistently, stay patient with yourself, and don't hesitate to reach out if you need further guidance or feedback. You're on the right track, and I'm confident you'll achieve your goals.
Thanks again, Professor. I'm excited to put these strategies into practice and see where they take me. I'll keep you updated on my progress.
I look forward to hearing about your progress, Andy. Keep up the good work, and don't be a stranger. Let me know if you have any more questions or if there's anything else I can do to help. Good luck.
The conversation highlights the importance of a structured approach to pronunciation practice, emphasizing consistent effort, the use of varied tools, and the value of embracing mistakes as learning opportunities. By focusing on sound drills, intonation practice, connected speech, and shadowing exercises, Andy can build the muscle memory and confidence needed for fluent, natural communication in English. The professor's guidance equips Andy with a comprehensive plan to improve his pronunciation, encouraging him to be patient and persistent on his journey.
Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe, like, comment, and share to keep the English learning journey alive.